Hello, hello. How are you guys doing? I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. My name is Joseph Ngugi. I am one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind, which is a platform that is meant to help you as a pre-PT get into PT school, like get accepted into physical therapy school. So if you're a pre-PT or you know a pre-PT, you already know where to refer them. But what I would like to talk to, and right now I'm actually finding on my phone where it's going live just to make sure that that I can see it perfect. What I'd like to do is for the next few moments, I'd like to talk about a topic that a student reached out to me about, and I figured, you know what, there's a lot of pre-PTs going through this, so let me actually just go in live and talk about it, and then we'll go from there. But if you're a pre-PT right now who's currently just kind of stuck, then this might be for you. And if you feel like this will help somebody that you know, feel free to share with them. All right, so let's dive in. All right, so the question I got was, hey Joseph, I feel like I'm running out of time as an applicant, and I don't know if I have what it takes to get into a DPT program. What do I do? So this is a student that has been struggling with a lot of different things, which is very common. GPA, just kind of feeling stuck, not really knowing what the next move should be for them. And they're just like, and they're also doubting themselves. So I don't know if I have what it takes. So if that is you, first of all, I want you to realize you're not alone. You're not alone. But it's something that a lot of pre-PTs go through. It's the bit about us as humans where we're like, well, like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if my grades are good enough. But what I'm gonna do is in the next few minutes, I'm just gonna give you 5 things, right? Because I'm like, as a pre-PT coach, this is what we deal with all the time. But I'm going to give you 5 things that if that is you right now, that I want you to start like thinking about doing, so that you can set yourself up to crush it, whether you're applying this year or next year. And if you're live, comment #team live. If you're watching this on replay, please comment #team replay. Just to let me know you're here, but it kind of keeps the post, like surfacing. But here are the 5 things. Here are 5 things that I would highly advise you to do next. If you feel like you're running out of time right now, if you feel like you're doubting yourself as well, and you feel like, what's up, Gail? How you doing? Like, you feel like you don't have what it takes. Like, these are the things that I would highly advise you to start doing, so that you're like, hey, like, I actually have a game plan. I have a structure. I know exactly what I need to do. So the first step is this. The first step is, as pre-PTs, and Gail, who actually just joined live, like, can attest to this, because she recently got accepted. She's in our accepted system program, but she recently got accepted into PT school. But it's very easy to like feel overwhelmed when, I mean, like, whether that's doubt, whether that's what we see from our friends, classmates, whether that's the pressure we feel at home. The first step I would say is, like, take a deep breath. Like, it sounds simple, but it's, if you're going through this right now, you know how hard it feels to actually do that, right? Because, like, no, I need to focus on this. No, I need to focus on that. So first of all, take a deep breath. Like, please take a deep breath, like, and understand that you're not alone. There are plenty of other students right now that are feeling exactly what you're feeling right now. And the honest truth is, there's plenty of other pre-PT students that have felt what you're feeling right now, have been in the situation you're in right now, and are currently accepted into PT school. And whether that's GPA, whether that's the overwhelm of feeling like, wow, I've gotten rejected before and I just don't want it to happen again, like you're in good company. You're in good company. So first of all, take a deep breath. The reason why I say that is because, like, when we're able to kind of just say, okay, maybe I have to do this a little differently, right? Maybe instead of like panicking over everything, maybe there's another way to go about this. And what have other students done? Like, what have other students learned? What have other students changed to actually put them in a position to crush it as applicants? And the first thing is, they have to take a deep breath. They have to figure out, okay, like, as a pre-PT, this is where I am right now. As a pre-PT, this is where I'm stuck right now. Okay, that's just fact. Like, okay, now after you take your deep breath is when you're able to decide, how do I fix it? If it's my grades, how do I change them? How do I fix them? If it's my GPA, okay, like, I can't control certain things, so what can I control? But that starts with, first of all, taking a deep breath. So that's the first step, if that is you. And for those of y'all that are just joining us right now, the topic that we're hitting right now is from a student, and this is the message that I've heard from many students. It's, I feel like I'm running out of time as an applicant. I don't know if I have what it takes to get into a DPT program. What do I do? So what's up, Jimmy? How you doing, brother? So number two, you have to ask different questions. You have to ask different questions. I actually heard someone say one time that there's a difference between making statements and asking questions. So statements are like, oh, my GPA is too low, I'm not going to get in. Oh, I didn't do well on my GRE the last 2 or 3 times, so I guess it's going to happen again. Those are statements. But I also feel like even with questions, there's another level. And the reason why, like there's another level that we also don't address, right? There's good questions and bad questions. There's questions that empower you, and there's questions that actually pull you down even more. Like questions like, how am I ever going to pass this GRE? Like, how am I ever going to handle like retaking all those classes? How am I ever going to afford like taking, 2 classes while having these responsibilities and working as this? Like how, those are disempowering questions. Disempowering questions. So if that is you, you have to flip it and say, like, how can I ask empowering questions? What are questions that I can ask myself that actually work for me? Y'all know you can do that? Like questions that actually work for me. Like, what are questions that I can use to actually leverage myself? Questions like, instead of like, how will I ever get into school with a low GPA? It's like, what do I have to know? What do I have to understand that some students have clearly understood because they've gotten in after starting with 2.4 GPAs, 2.8 GPAs, all this other stuff? Like, what do I have to learn in order to become like an amazing applicant? If it's the GRE, okay, I haven't done well on it for the last 3 times. Okay, what do I need to understand? Who do I need to talk to? Who can help me? Who has done it? There's a very clear difference in the types of questions you ask yourself. There is. What's up, Kyle Rice? How you doing, brother? Like, there's a very clear difference in the types of questions you ask yourself. But if you're asking questions that disempower you, you're not even giving yourself a shot. You're not. Like, you aren't giving yourself a shot to even be like to even be capable or to even be in the playing field where you can actually put yourself in a position to crush it. Like, you're just not. And so you have to ask different questions. Are my questions serving me or not? Like, are they serving me or not as a pre-PT if I feel these things? And for those of y'all that are joining us right now, yeah, it's about the questions, Kyle. Like, what we're hitting right now, y'all, is a question that I got from a student saying, I feel like I'm running out of time as an applicant and don't know if I have what it takes to get into PT school. What do I do? Like, I'm going through the 5 things. The first one was take a deep breath, y'all. The second one was ask different questions. The third one is this. You have to narrow your view. Narrow your view, y'all. Listen to me very carefully. Like, narrow your view. I actually just got off a call with a student a few minutes ago, and one of the things I told them, and I've said this before, is you're not a match for every program in the country. If you're watching this on replay or live, just comment that below. I am not a match for every school in the country. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. It's a beautiful thing. But many of us see it as like, oh no, no. Like y'all, let me keep this real clear. You are not a match for every school in the United States. If you're watching this from Canada, you are not a match for every physio school in Canada. If you're watching this in Europe, y'all, like, listen, I can go down the list. You're not a match. It's the same thing with my wife, y'all. Like, what would it look like? So my wife is absolutely amazing, right? What would it look like if I went to my wife and I was like, yo, so I feel like you're just like one of the hundreds of people that I could have potentially married because, yeah, no, like she would not rock with that at all. Like, to be honest, like, what makes it so beautiful is that we feel like we're a match for each other. But if we feel that way with relationships, why don't we feel that way with schools? Why can't we spend more time figuring out, how do I narrow my schools? How do I figure out which schools actually match me? How do I figure out which schools I'm actually a match for? Because remember, when we feel like we're running out of time, the main reason for that is because, like, we feel like we can't control anything else. If I feel like I'm running out of time, right? Like, if I'm in a sports game, for example, if I feel like, oh, I'm running out of time, well, it means that I feel like I've given everything I can. It means that, like, oh my goodness, like I got 2 more minutes in the game and we're down 20. It means I can't really control all that much. It means that it's too late. But it's not. It's not. Like if you're watching this right now and you're 24 years old, it's not too late. If you're watching this right now and you're 35 years old, it's not too late. If you're watching this right now and you're 40 years old, it's not too late. Y'all, you just have to figure out, like, am I narrowing my view? I am not a match for every school. Please get that. Please get that. Because what happens is this, it becomes really beautiful, right? In the same way that when I realized that I couldn't just like up and marry every single woman in the United States, right? I realized I had to figure out the person. I had to find the person that I was a match for. And that's what's made our marriage so amazing. Like, that's what's made our marriage so freaking amazing, right? But I had to figure out, like, who am I actually a match for? Who am I a match for? So are you doing that? Like, are you narrowing your view? Like, y'all, we can't spend time like figuring out, oh, my classmate's doing this. Oh, this person's doing that. Oh, I got y'all. Like, that's why you're screwing yourself over as a pre-PT, because you're not locked in. It's the equivalent of me just saying, hey, I just want to party with all these. Like, y'all, listen, when it's time to succeed as pre-PTs, we have to have a narrow view. So figure it out, like, whether that's in your strategies for studying, whether that's in the schools y'all are looking for, but you guys have to figure that out. Number 4, you have to learn how to really, really highlight your strengths and expose your real weaknesses. I think a lot of times we're super, like, very superficial when it comes to this part. We're very, very superficial when it comes to this part. Like, highlight your real strengths, know what they are. Like, what am I good at? Am I good at communicating? When it comes to interview, am I good at that? When it comes to writing, maybe with the essay, I'm really good at that. When it comes to leading, maybe I'm good at that. Okay, cool. Know what your strengths are. What are your weaknesses? Is it you're like, do I wait till the last possible moment? Do I believe that I function better under pressure, so I procrastinate? And that, no, y'all, that's actually a weakness, right? So what are my real weaknesses? Do I retreat? Do I hibernate and kind of pull myself away from everything when I feel like the world is crumbling, because that's like my way of kind of feeling safe? Like, what is it? What is it? Do I assume the worst case scenario? That's a weakness, y'all, but it's something that we all get, and that's usually what leads to anxiety. But what are my real ones? Because y'all can't like we can't move forward as pre-PTs unless we know what those are for ourselves, like the real ones, because that's when we're able to say, okay, now this is what this is what I need to do. This is what I need to understand. These are the steps I need to take. That's the only, like, we have to know those things. Like, it's with everything. It's the GRE. It's the application process. Y'all, like, I can't tell y'all how many students like will come to myself for Casey and they're like, oh my goodness, I applied last cycle. I did everything. I just don't think this is for me. And then when we step back, I'm like, ooh, like, this person was just not self-aware. Like, there's certain things that we just did not see. But you have to be willing to look at them and know they're not pretty to look at, y'all. That's why they're called weaknesses. Like, we don't like looking at them, right? Like no athlete, unless they love just like watching their own failures. Like, most athletes typically don't want to see themselves doing terrible in a game. Like, they were at the game, they saw it. But the greats always watch film. The greats always go back and they're like, okay, that's where I messed up. I remember the play, but let me look at my motions. Let me look at my movements. Maybe I was just like super sloppy. Maybe I was like too aggressive. Like, what was it? And they actually go back and they break it down because they're willing to actually figure out what were my real weaknesses. They also see their strengths, but that's how they're able to know, okay, this is what I need help with. This is what I need direction with. And then number 5 is have someone who can actually guide you to collapse time. Y'all, listen, like, we don't have a whole, like we don't got like 10 years to apply 10 different cycles. And if you feel like the whole running out of time, because for those of y'all that are just joining us, the question was, I feel like I'm running out of time as an applicant, Joseph. Don't know if I have what it takes to get into a DPT program. So if you're running out of time, then we have to figure out, like, who has been through it before. Like, one of our coaches, Greg Todd, always says, yo, like, don't take advice from someone that hasn't been down the path you're trying to go. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. So who is that person for you? Is it someone that you know? Is it us? Like, this is what we do, of course. But like, who is it? And can I use them to collapse time for me? Can I use them to help me see things I'm not seeing? Can I? But if that is you today, If that's you, like you experiencing that right now, then the first thing I'll say is this. The first thing as I say is like you're gonna be fine, but it's gonna require doing things very differently. It is. It is. Like just kind of crossing our fingers just doesn't work anymore, y'all. It does not. Trust me, y'all. We've been coaching students for years now. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't work, man. So just understand those are the 5 things that I would highly advise you if you're like, hey, this is the situation I'm in. Like if that is you, those are the 5 things I would highly advise you to do right now. And then let's go from there. If you want to talk to us, go to www.contactpreptgrind.com. Send us a message. Like, let's talk. Let's freaking talk. Let's figure it out. If you're like, hey, I'm doing those 5 things. Now I want to help. I want help from someone that can help me like actually process this. Cool. Go to contactpreptgrind.com. And let's talk. But that's it. That's it. So number 1, take a deep breath. 2, ask different questions. 3, narrow your view because you are not a match for every school that you're applied to. 4, learn how to highlight your real strengths and expose your weaknesses for real, for real. And then number 5, have someone who can actually guide you to collapse time. If you're ready to do that as a pre-PT, I want you to comment reset below. If that is you and you're like, yo, I'm ready to figure this thing out, comment reset below to let us know, yo, I'm ready to start applying these 5 things. But all in all, go crush it. Absolutely tear it up. Make this your year. Much love to every single one of y'all. Bye.